In this video, we're going to demonstrate how to sew a label in. You'll need a piece of muslin, a threaded needle, some snips, and a label. What you see right here are just some different samples. This is a piece of muslin that is serged all the way around. This is a special machine we use in the shop that puts this finishing edge so the fabric can't ravel. What you see here is just a piece of muslin. Yes, there's some serging here, but mostly it's unfinished edges. And what I did was pressed it at the iron. So this is the type of sample you're going to do. I want you to take a square of muslin and press back all the sides so you have what we call a nice finished edge. That means there's just a fold on the sides and not a raw edge that will ravel. So this will be our name tag. I'll sew both ends just so you can see, but we're going to start with this one. So you'll take your muslin and a pin, and you need your name tag. And I want you to pin your name tag in place. I usually just use one to hold this all together. You can use as many as you like. Some people pin at the corners. I just use one, just kind of right through the middle there. And then take your needle, and to start, I want you to pierce through the label itself on the corner, so this way your knot will hide between the label and the garment. Now pretend in this scenario that, oh no, my needle came completely unthreaded. In this scenario, the piece of muslin we're sewing the label to is functioning as the garment. So pierce that name tag from the back side till your needle is, or your knot is right there. Then you're ready to sew using the whip stitch basically. To do this, you just go into the back fabric and you're at that angle like we did in the whip stitch. And you bust up through the name tag like that. See how that works? Pull that stitch down, and I want you to go in to the back fabric right where you came out of the name tag. Uh-oh, there we go. So if we're right here coming out of the name tag, we want to go into the back fabric right here. And do the same thing, go in at that angle and bust up through the name tag again. Tighten that stitch down. Do it again, into the garment, up through the name tag. Goodness, that is caught. There we go. Into the garment, up through the name tag. Into the garment, up through the name tag. Now you'll see me when I do this and hold that thread out of the way. That's not necessary for y'all. Just want you to be able to see where I'm putting this needle in. So I'm holding that thread back out of the way. You can just let it be as long as it's not in your way. Now sometimes your thread will get caught around your pins and that's really annoying. You just gotta, there you go. See how my tail is kind of long there? I want to shorten that a little bit. There we go. One more time. Into the garment, up through the label. I'll show you what to do at the corner. Into the garment, up through the label. And you'll do, here you go in here. And I want you to come up on the other side of the label. So now we've turned the corner. We went into the garment and up through the label. And now we're ready to move on to this side of the label. Into the garment, up through the label. Hopefully you can see how this process works. It's pretty straightforward. This is a version of the whip stitch that you're doing. Bet you didn't know how good you'd already gotten, huh? So, to finish this off, since the label goes inside the garment, and we don't ever want our stitches to be seen outside very much, I want you to sew your knot in the label. So when you get done, say you've made it all the way back around, just take a little bite of that label right where you've been stitching and draw it down. And we're going to make the loops that we use to make our knot. There's our tiny loop. Put your needle through it. There's your knot. One more for good measure. Tiny loop. Put your needle through it. There's your knot. Clip that off. And I'll show you the other one. There's nothing special about it. It just looks a little different. But again, you'll want to pin it in place. And you'll sew the same way we just did. Ooh, my thread is really small, but I think I can make this work. Make a quick knot for you. All right. Now with these, you want to come through the back side again. Let your knot stop the thread. And you sew around the edge of this one too. Into the garment, up through the label. Into the garment, up through the label. Into the garment, up through the label. So, there we are. So hopefully you can see it's really no different. It just looks, the label itself looks different. But this is how you can sew around the edge of something and sew it to something else. And again here, I want you to pretend we've sewn all the way around and we're gonna knot off in the name tag. Just pick up a few threads of the name tag, put your needle through that loop, tighten that knot down, take one more tiny loop, put your needle through it. There you go. That's how to sew a label in something.